Hi, my name is Nicholas Height. I'm a lawyer licensed in Louisiana with over a decade of experience committed to working with adult and child survivors of intimate partner violence, stalking, and sexual assault. This video is only informational in nature, and even though I am a lawyer and I am going to be talking about legal topics, I am not giving you legal advice, and nothing I say in this video should be considered legal advice. If you have questions about anything I talk about, or questions about your particular legal situation, you should seek out a licensed and experienced attorney who will be able to provide you with legal advice specific to your needs. In this video, I'm going to discuss some of the basic points in the process of filing a criminal complaint. This is just going to be the general bullet points, and there is always the possibility that your experience won't be the same as what I describe. Hopefully, though, this will provide you with some foundational information to help you understand the process generally. The first step in filing a criminal complaint is to contact law enforcement. You can contact law enforcement directly on your own behalf. Law enforcement may be contacted on your behalf by a mandated reporter, or law enforcement may be contacted on your behalf by a concerned third party. While you may not have control over who makes a criminal complaint about you or on your behalf, you always have an option about how much you will cooperate with law enforcement. There are several law enforcement agencies that may be able to take and act on a criminal complaint. The New Orleans Police Department can be contacted via 911 in the case of emergencies, or specific district stations can be contacted directly to file complaints in a non-emergency setting. The Tulane Police Department can be contacted and dispatched via 911 for emergency circumstances on or around the Tulane campus. The Tulane Police Department can also be contacted directly to report non-emergency criminal complaints. There are also a number of private security providers in neighborhoods throughout New Orleans. Those types of private patrol or security providers cannot be dispatched by contacting 911 emergency services. They can be flagged down if they happen to be on the scene. Additionally, reporting a criminal complaint to a private security officer is not the same as reporting to law enforcement and does not guarantee that a report to law enforcement will be made. When making a criminal complaint to law enforcement, the responding officers will most likely want to take your statement as well as the statements of any other bystanders or witnesses who are willing and available to speak with them. Whether you are the person making the complaint or the person complained about, you always have the right to have a lawyer present when talking to the police. If you are identified as the victim of a crime, you also have the legal right to have a designated trained advocate or mental health professional present to support and assist you during any interviews with law enforcement. It is helpful to remember that anything you say can and will be used against you, and that this is true regardless of whether you are the person making the criminal complaint or you are the subject of a criminal complaint. If you are making a criminal complaint, law enforcement is obligated to prepare a written report detailing the events and circumstances surrounding the event that was complained of. If you're making a criminal complaint, law enforcement is obligated to provide you with an item number. That item number will be associated with the formal report that is created regarding the event being complained of. In most cases, you have the right to request a copy of the formal report using the item number provided by law enforcement. Additionally, if you review the formal report and believe that it is inaccurate or wish to include additional information that was not available or recorded at the time, you may request that a supplemental report be prepared and added to the original report. Once the criminal complaint is made, law enforcement will then make a determination about whether arrest is warranted under the circumstances. In many instances, arrest is made at the scene, but in some instances, additional investigation may be required before a determination regarding arrest is made. If arrest is sought at a later date, an arrest warrant will need to be issued, and that may require the review and approval of a commanding officer as well as a judge who will sign the warrant itself. If the matter is investigated and if arrest is not deemed necessary for whatever reason, the case may be considered formally closed, administratively closed, or it may remain open and inactive pending any additional information or evidence that may or may not ever become available. Keep in mind that in most cases, once a criminal complaint is made, law enforcement is frequently obligated to make an arrest, whether their investigation leads them to believe that criminal activity has occurred and the offending party is on the scene. In other instances, law enforcement may choose not to pursue arrest, and there is little opportunity to influence that decision on the part of the investigating agency. Simultaneous with or immediately following a decision to arrest, the criminal complaint will be transferred from the investigating law enforcement agency to the local prosecuting office, also known as the district attorney. The district attorney has effectively absolute authority over deciding which cases are prosecuted and which cases are not. In determining which cases will or will not be prosecuted, each case is screened. Cases can remain pending and in screening for extended periods of time before the district attorney's office will commit to pursuing prosecution or not. While the district attorney's office may consider input from the alleged victim or other factors, the decision is ultimately theirs alone. Because of this, even after an arrest is made, the district attorney may choose not to pursue prosecution. Alternatively, even if the person who is the alleged victim refuses to cooperate in prosecution and is not supportive of the prosecution, the criminal prosecution may still move forward. If or when the case is picked up for prosecution, the expectation is that the alleged victim will cooperate with the prosecution. There is, however, no legal obligation for the alleged victim to participate in the prosecution process in any way that they don't want to. Most district attorney offices have victim advocates available whose job it is to communicate with alleged crime victims and provide them with updates on the status of their case as it moves forward. If you are an alleged crime victim whose case is being prosecuted, you have a right to know about upcoming court dates and the overall progress of the case. Additionally, you're allowed to know if the alleged offender has been released from jail or if a criminal stay-away order has been issued as part of the terms of their release. However, if you're an alleged crime victim, you should not assume that anyone will proactively keep you updated on the progress or status of the criminal case, and you may need to make your own inquiries for that information. As an alleged crime victim, you may be asked to testify at the criminal trial or to otherwise provide evidence at the trial. Again, you may refuse to cooperate voluntarily in the prosecution, but this may result in the prosecution ending or going forward without you. Additionally, depending on the circumstances, it is possible for an alleged crime victim to be subject to a subpoena and legally compelled to appear and testify at the trial against their will. This practice has grown increasingly rare, but it is still possible. This video will not discuss the prosecution of a criminal case in any more detail than what I have already provided. If you have any questions about that process, you're encouraged to contact a licensed and experienced attorney who may be able to more specifically answer your questions or concerns about criminal prosecution. If this video wasn't able to address a question or concern you have about making a criminal complaint, you can reach out for support from university or community advocates who may be able to provide you with additional information and support for your specific circumstances.